Are they gone? Are the ads gone? Are we free from the true fear? I think we're good, Kevin. I think we're good. Oh no, are the ads gone? They should be. At least for now. They'll come back in stronger numbers too. Why is that not working? Anyway, hi! Regroup? Hello, Portlar. Hi, Ace. Hi, Jane. Hi, Neo. Hope y'all are doing well today. That's a cute emote. I hope you like the music for today. Welcome back! I'm playing Warframe? Cool. Doing not bad, got to start off with something in Voices of the Void. Voices of the Void is like, that's a mind freak of a game, dude. Like, that game is just pure, it's all in your head. But, or is it, you know? Freaky, but it's good, yeah. But, welcome back, guys. Hi, Omega. Child person when eyes jumped me when I was cleaning the bathroom. Yep, that'll happen. I just hate it when you go to the bathroom, there's a child person in there. Damn shame. Have my notes right here. But welcome back, guys. We're going to be doing another one of these tutorial streams. I'm just going to be, you know, talking through some stuff. Today's, I guess, episode, however you want to call the session, I'm going to be focusing on shapes and silhouettes. So this is basically just more, unlike last time, this is more just like the basics, you know? So, so I guess where to start off is that, and make sure that y'all can get a good view of the preview. There you go. That should be good enough. Yeah. Put that right there. Okay, so as we know, there are three shapes, fundamental shapes that make up most objects. You know, we have a circle, we have rectangles, and then we have what I call triangle. Boom. These are our three basic fundamental shapes. Most of the most objects that you'll see in art, and this is the basic rule for just like any art, obviously it gets a little bit more complicated, but at your core, most things are composed of these three basic shapes. Now, of course, these shapes can be morphed or skewed. So, for example, the triangle could be like stretched up a little bit like this, inverted upwards, and then kind of like this, to give it the shape of like a cursor. A rectangle can be like inverted inward to maybe give the appearance of, like, in this case, a skull. And then a circle can be stretched downward a little bit to give the appearance of like a teardrop or even an egg. You will give me an egg. What are we doing? I'm doing it. This is a tutorial stream, so I'm just teaching y'all basic. Yeah, egg. But let's go back to the core shape, right? There's something else I can show y'all. Okay, cool, AC, thanks. Let me even this a little bit. Okay, so let's take into account that, like, with the circle, you know, it could be, if we put some lines on it, it could be like a balloon. Nah, I'm just kidding. But balloon. But we can also say, let's pretend like this is like a. I'm gonna add some color here. Why is it? Oh, hold on. Boop. And if we add a lighter shade, guess what we get? We're going to get a coin. We'll just leave it like that. Simple, alright? Coins. They're circular. For a rectangle, we can get a box. Oh, wrong spot. Right here. Gonna line it a little bit for this one. Or crate, however you want to word it. Box. And then when I see a triangle like this, I think of a spike. Or a traffic cone. A traffic cone? Are they? No, I'm doing the wrong color. I think they're white. I think it's like, yeah, it's orange and white. I don't know why I thought it was black. But boom, yeah, see? Upside down pizza? Yeah, it could be like a slice of pizza too, yeah. And once again, if we take these shapes again, pull them down here, fill these up, and also once again, if you use marquee tool, you can highlight this so it makes it easier for me to color all these in. Go. So once again, if you skew them a little bit, you can get more complex shapes. Like I said before, an egg. Which would be fatter at the bottom. Smoother up at the top. And then with the rectangle, or square, we can make it fatter at the top, or like I said before, we can take some spots away here and here to give it the shape of a skull. And then a triangle, let's go ahead and adjust it so that it comes off more rounded. Nope. There we go. So now with this one, we just add our shading to it, or just some basic colors. Once again, keeping it simple. And you get egg! I can make you have a crack to it. Egg! You will give me an egg! Is it bad I can keep in sync with those singing without the lyrics of this damn song? No, it's the exact same with me. I am humming them in my head right now. I am doing my best not to sing them because I know the words, and so no, you're fine. I also have the words memorized. I mean, it's not, I don't know if it's a problem, it's a thing. But yeah, so you have that, you get a skull. And I'll do this too. And then with this one, I'm thinking of it like a cap. So I'm gonna make it blue. Then get our darker shade. Like a beanie. I'm trying to be perfect here once again. Yeah, it's like a beanie. I used to wear them a lot when I was in high school. Don't really wear them that much anymore, though. But I thought they were always cute. Get my head snug. Boom. So see, this is where you can kind of get... If you skew the shapes, you can get more complex objects going, but, you know. But in addition, let's get a new frame. Let's take into account that you can get a little bit more advanced in that you can combine these shapes together to get, you know, even more complicated shapes. So, let's take a potion. It's kind of like the best example I can think of, right? What is a potion composed of? I mean, it could be whatever, but it's basic one is it has the base or the body of a circle. It has the handle of a rectangle, and it has the lid. Ooh, it has the lid, or the top part of it is a triangle. These over. So these are apart right now. I'm gonna extend this a little bit and make it thicker. Make this one bigger too. So if we just move this down on top of each other, like that, and this into here, I'm gonna shorten this a little bit. There you go, you kind of get potion. And then we add the coloring to it. Let's just make it a red, like, health potion. And, you know, I can always adjust it, like, maybe I want the stem to be a little bit shorter. Just do that. Make that red. And of course, I'll make sure I'm working with, like, a simple palette. So I'll stick with, like, one color. Do that. Always like to give the base a darker shade here. Actually, hold on. Oh my goodness, I have the wrong tool. There we go. Yeah, that's good enough. And then I'll do this here up a little more depth. And then the glass, I like to work with like light blues. Hi, Shadow. And then reapply the white on the lighter parts, which is, you know, in our case over here. Hope you're having a good day today. I am, yeah. I hope you're doing well too. Okay, so I'm gonna make this darker. It's hard to tell. Like, one thing you want to do with palettes or colors, make sure that there's like a clear difference between the colors. Don't make two colors too similar to each other, because then it's hard to read. Even if you feel like it's like the gap between the colors is too major, trust me, it's not. You're probably fine. It's about, like, clarity is more important than like feeling like, oh, it looks like the colors are too different. No, you just need that clarity. Better go too overboard than not enough, yeah? But yeah, see, there you go. So combining those three basic shapes together, we get a potion. Boom, right? And so, like, another thing I can think of is, like, a spear. What would a spear be composed of? That's right. That's right. A long rectangle and a triangle. Well, I hate when that happens. There we go. Can you see the sphere? Shout it out. Shout sphere at your screen now. And of course, I'm going to skew or adjust the spear or the spearhead a little bit. Because honestly, you know what? You could even justify this being the spear. It could be a triangle with a circle to get the basic same basic shape here. You could justify that being the case. And once again, let's grab our simple palette. And once again, I'm just gonna cover 2 colors. Brown and a lighter brown. And once again, if y'all need me to do an episode or a session covering, like, I guess more like color theory, or making your own palettes, let me know. I can definitely do that. I can even do a session over shading, etc. Because I know, trust me, shading is hard. Shading is very difficult. Once you get the hang of it, it gets a lot easier. But like at the start, it's rough, and I'm still not the best at it. We don't need that. All right, cool. So yeah, once again, you do that, get spear. And then a third example I can think of off the top of my head is a mushroom, which I'm going to justify it as I see it as like combining both a triangle and a rectangle, very similar to a sphere. The only difference is the way that we're going to skew our triangle. It's worth it. Yes, it is worth it. Like, shading makes so much difference in any piece of art that you're doing, especially in pixel art, because shading is how you get your, and we'll get to this later in today's episode, but shading is how you get your depth, how you can trick the mind into seeing something as more 3D despite it being 2D. Yeah. So yeah, so to get the mushroom, we're just gonna adjust our triangle, and there you go. Make it more of a flat top, pull it down. We can make it a green mushroom. Well, it reminds me of the mushrooms in Centipede, if anyone remembers that old arcade game. Again, get a darker shade. And then I'm gonna take a darker shade of green. For up here. And voila! Thank you so much for the follow. I hope you enjoy your stay in the coven. Thank you, thank you. Oh, hold on. Oh. Thank you for the hydrate, thank you. But there you go, so, see? And you get a mushroom. So, this is like, you know, this is the basis of making certain objects. And once again, this is more objects, but... And also, it stops the thoughts of something is terrible when you trick it with shading. Exactly. I do want to do one more example before we move on to the next part. Actually, so this is gonna kind of go into my next section, which is working with shading in the simple objects to basically get your object. Yeah. I was gonna combine it with no, we'll keep it simple. So let's get a actually, I think this is a cool example because this is what I've been doing a lot lately. So let's make a letter. Any letter. Anyone have anyone have a letter they want me to do? Anyone have a favorite letter? I know it's a weird question. I'm gonna go back to white. H? Okay, cool. Let's draw an H. H for hell yeah! Which, once again, is just like, it's 3 rectangles to get your H, yeah? So, here's a cool thing. So we have our H, yeah? Let's make a darker shade. And and here's an extra little tip here. Whenever I'm working with whites and I'm trying to get a gray to go with it, right? A darker shade, I do not just like stay on the white line here and do this. You can if you want, of course, but I think a more effective way is to go to like a blue color and then pull it down and out a little bit and you get a gray. It's a darker blue, but I don't know, it just feels better of a gray, you know? And then if you keep pulling it inward, I think it just like generally flows better and it looks nicer. See? It's the same thing, but just it feels better to me if you do it that way. Anyway. If we take the darker shade here, and then we take the bottom portions, I'm gonna extend it down by 2. You can make this as thick as you want to give it more depth. When you do that with shading, look at that. It almost makes it look like the H has some depth to it now. We can, of course, like I said, make it thicker, add more lines below it with the darker shade. And there you go. It gives the illusion of depth to the H. And there are many ways that you can do this, of course. You can... Yeah, exactly. It looks like a button. And if you put it together, like, that's... I'm glad you mentioned that, Jane. Let's get a new frame. Let us delete this. Or even better, I'm going to delete about that much. 3 layers to it. 1, 2, 3. Because this is legit how they do buttons in games. It's like when they're animating it. This is how they would do it. And then maybe make this darker. And then we set the loop. If I can see. Oh, okay, it's there. Cool. And then I'll set the frame to 180. $240. So yeah, perfect example. Yeah, with shading, and then once again adjusting the second one. And of course, I can give it more frames. We can make it go down and up with more frames to give it a more smoother animation. But in general, you do it like this. Like you said, it comes off as a button. It's like you're pushing it in and out. New frame. Okay. Oh. Okay, so let's do something else. Let's do an object. And we're gonna go back to the coin, because I think coins are just like a good example to work with. So, as we know, coins are circular. I'm going to make this have a more oval shape to it, though. As if it's laying on its side. And this is once again, it's up to you. There's no... Just want to make sure it's relatively uniform. Okay, cool. We'll work with that. Okay, so... if we want to make this coin appear more coinish on the side, I'm actually going to delete the inside of this. Just so it's like easier for y'all to see what I'm trying to get at. We're gonna take this, and once again, we want to give it depth, so we're gonna pull it down. Because a coin, at least a coin in the 3D space, is in a way a cylinder. It has a cylindrical shape to it. So we have the two circles, one above the other. We pull it down, connect them. We're going to, because this back part's going to be invisible to our eye. We do that. Now I'm going to go ahead and delete this because a coin is relatively thin. So we're going to just like pull this up. A little bit more. Okay, and then once again, with the power of shading, we'll take a lighter color. Nope. Put it on top. I'm going to adjust the outline color of it to be our darkest shade. And then let's get our secondary shade. I hate that I keep forgetting about that. There we go. So it comes off on the ground, right? And in addition, I'm going to get rid of the border there. There you go. Now, we can add a little bit more to this, right? Because let's say the coin has like an indent in the center of it. So we're going to do the same thing. In that we have a smaller cutout or cylinder within it. This could also be a donut. And then same thing. We want to take into account that there's going to be an indent here, so we're just going to incorporate the backside of the cylinder. Darken it. Get rid of that. One more up. Once again, this also comes down to just like how you want to view it. I'm also gonna extend this down a little bit more. Once again, it's all about like, that's why whenever I draw, I tend to have the preview up on the side. It helps me like look at it better. I'll probably line up this part here. Yeah, it's fine. Because that's just basically acting as like the outline. I'll do this real quick though. One more layer. There we go. I mean, honestly, you turn it on its side. Oh, that's not what I wanted to do. Look at that. Nintendo, don't. This isn't. No, this isn't like a Mario coin. It's close enough. It's not close. They're not gonna ding me on this. But see, there you go. Boom, coin. It has a little indent in there, and with the power of shading, you can trick the eye into kind of viewing it that way. Yeah, pretty cool. Another example I want to do is I'm gonna put that coin up in the corner right there. A cake or a pie, doesn't matter. Cake, pie. So a cake. They're probably too busy trying to patent catching monsters now. That's a good point. I think, yeah, you're right. We good. So I'm going to make this cake have a little bit of an angle to it. And so the best way I'm going to do this is that a cake, or at least the top of the cake, would be, if y'all remember your, geometry? I'm going to make it be a scalene triangle. We're going to do the exact same thing we did with the coin. Take this, copy it, bring it down. About right there. Delete the inside of it that we know that looking at the picture, we're not going to see it. We pull this down, we pull this down. Delete this, because it's just not going to be visible. See? It's already looking pretty good, yeah. I'm going to go ahead and add in our colors to it. Let's make it a... Already hungry? Yeah. I already had dinner, so I'm good. Bye now. I'm sorry I keep drawing food. It makes y'all hungry. I'm gonna make it purple. So I'm gonna get the outline be this dark purple. Too dark. Okay, and then darker shade here. Our lighter shade up here. Gives it depth. In addition, we're going to take the lighter shade here. It's either or. We can either use the lighter shade at the top or the darker one. It's up to you. I'm going to use the lighter shade to fill in these part here. Want to still keep our outline, of course, but I want to make sure that this here is... And once again, that is completely up to you. You could honestly leave it like this, and that is also very valid. This is also valid. It is just up to your style, how you want to draw things. Either or. No right or wrong. The beauty of art, have fun with it. Excuse me. And let's go ahead and put... use different color. I'm gonna put some blueberries on it. So once again, blueberries are pretty easy. It's just circles. And we're gonna get our darker shade going and bring up our lighter shade. I'm pretending the light... Actually, the light's gonna be coming from, like, I guess, this direction. So it'll be like this. Get our lightest shade. Right here. Look at that. It's already looking so good. If we did this. Yeah, that's fine. That's fine. And then let's put some icing on it too. I'm just gonna use white. And I'm gonna say the icing is kind of dripping off the side. This is icing. I know some of y'all. Yeah, Yeah, no worries. You get your rest. Thanks for hanging out. And then I'm gonna put icing like here. And then maybe around to there. And then fill that in. And then once again, we have the white. So I'm gonna pull this down to get my gray. Because, you know, this is like hanging off the side. This icing is dripping off the side. So I actually probably should have done it before I filled it in. Now I think about it. Oh well. Here we go. Fill that up a little bit more. And then to give a little bit more design to it, I'm gonna pull some of these up here of the outline. I'm gonna pull this up a little bit. Oh, just gives a little bit more flair to it. It looks nice. And then even here, I'm gonna just replace this with the lighter shade. Once again, you don't have to do that. That's up to you. It looks fine either way. It's just depend on how much detail you want to put into it. Yeah. Even to the point where I can get rid of this drooping bit, replace it with and a cooler thing we can do here, just fill in. Want to get this like once again, just kind of in uniform. 1, 2, 3. To give the impression it has like it's like a layered cake, basically. Just add that extra little bit of detail. Yep. We can even do this as well on this layer too. And look at that yummy cake. Look at that yummy slice. I don't have too much of a sweet tooth myself, but it does look pretty good. And of course, like with any piece of art, we could always add more detail to this. There's always more you can add to it, but it just really comes down to like how much you want to do with it. There's no right or wrong. You put in as much detail as you feel comfortable with. You know, I obviously went kind of wild with this one, add a lot more, but you certainly do not have to. Do what you feel comfortable with. And, you know, trust me, it'll look good regardless because you made it, you worked on it, you did your best. That's all that matters. That's the beauty of art, is that we can have fun with it. Look at that. See? Started so simple, and then we ended up with that. It looks really good. So let's see, another thing that we can do. We're going to do a mushroom again, but unlike this one, where it's pretty 2D still, there's not much depth to it, we're gonna do a mushroom again, but this time, we're going to design it so that we can give it, with the shading and the simple shapes, we can give it more depth, yeah? So, once again, we're gonna start with this white. We're gonna get our triangle. Triangle. And our rectangle. Fill it in. Make this one make our triangle more curved. there. That should be good enough. Is that even? Yeah, it should be. I'm gonna do this once again, but let's go ahead and make this mushroom. And make it. Well, we don't have red on here, so we'll just make it red. Okay, so one thing we're gonna do to give this a little bit more depth, once again, we're gonna get our darker shade of red. And let's pretend like it's like tilted up a little bit. We're just gonna add some layers down. And then even to the point of extending the cap or the stem up a little bit. And maybe even one more. Making sure it still kind of like mirrors each other. There you go. And to this point, I'm actually going to extend the cap up a little bit more. Once again, don't have to worry about being perfect, because it's easy to adjust it as you're adding more to it. That's all that matters. I'm gonna delete these two. That's good. I'm actually gonna make this a little bit darker. Just once again, trying to make it so that it's clear. Now, because we have to assume that this cap here is extending up and above the stem here, we're going to need a darker shade for our stem. Fill that in. To give it the illusion that, like, this is outstretched and it's kind of making a shadow down here. I mean, I'm going to do this right like that, yeah? And then I'm going to get a secondary color, or a third shade? Secondary shade between the two. Because we're going to we're going to pretend like the light's coming from the upper right. So the shade, or the darker portion of the mushroom is going to be over here. Be a little bit of a shadow over here, not too much. We'll do one here. Look at that. And I'm gonna extend it down here on the mushroom stem. And the entire bottom. And then we can even get a lighter shade here. A little shimmer there. And even we can add a darker shade here. Do this. Oh, no. Once again, don't have to do that. It is completely up to you. How much detail you want to put into it, yeah? But see, look at that. So just by, let me compare them. Let me put them next to each other, yeah? Okay, alright, listen here, buddy. I think it's better if we bring the other one over here. More room. Copy, paste. So yeah, see, look at that. Just by playing a little bit more with the colors and the shading, you can see the difference between these two mushrooms. How, like, this one obviously kind of has a more... It's still coming across as more like 2D-ish. While this one has a little bit more depth to it, to the point where I even want to make this a little bit darker. Yeah. Man, you can see it's like 9 Day. This has a little bit more depth to it. You can clearly see that it's like a proper cap. You can see that. And once again, like right here when I did this, you don't have to do that. It's once again in this here, you don't have to do that. It looks fine either way. It's just up to you. I cannot make that more clear. That it's up to you how much detail you want to put into it. Yeah. Okay. We're gonna take this opportunity, because we're almost on the hour, so we're gonna take a little break. I'll let y'all kind of digest everything we've been over so far. We'll be back in a little bit, and we'll talk about silhouettes next. So I'll be right back. I'll be good. Alright, we are back. Alright. So, something that some of you may have heard before is that when it comes to like character design, something that's so very important is is the silhouette of the character. If you don't have a good silhouette of the character, then character's not really that well designed, yeah? I mean, not necessarily, but it makes it harder. So we're gonna just like take that concept, but only really focus on like objects per usual. So for example, I made this right here, this silhouette. Now, when you look at this, you see a long stem, and you see an octagon. So, with that taken into account, if I add my colors to it, now of course it could be a lollipop, but just with this general thing, this general silhouette, I assume some of you probably were like, well, it's probably a stop sign, yeah? And you'll be correct. And we know that it's a stop sign because of its silhouette. And then put S P O E. That's off-centered. That's fine. There you go. Stop. I know it's a horrible stop sign, but you know, just trying to get the general concept out there, yeah? That silhouettes help you kind of easily recognize certain things. Another thing I drew right here, once again, you see a circle, and you see a line connected off of it. I'm not going to do red again, we're going to do green. Now, you don't know what color balloon it is, but once again, you can kind of assume just from the silhouette, and when I put the colors in, it's going to be a balloon. I'm not gonna worry too much about the shading. Just getting the basic general shape in, yeah. But yeah, once again, you just from the silhouette, you can easily tell that it's balloon. This is why silhouettes are so important. Even with something like this, now this one can be a little bit more tricky, but you at least know that, you know, the box of some kind, be any kind of box. Maybe it's a crate. Maybe it's just a wooden box. Maybe it's a cardboard box. You don't know. But you do know there's probably a box of some kind. I'm gonna fill these in real quick. I'll get the shades here in also after I finish this. Excuse me. And of course, once again, if any of y'all, as I'm doing these, if you have questions, feel free to ask. Or if I'm going too fast. Or if I'm not making sense. Or if I said something that doesn't make sense, let me know. Oop, hold on. There you go. And then once again, if we add some more detail to it. Wow, look at that. Add the lines here. Add this here. And an X up here. There you go, it's like a Crash Bandicoot box, yeah? Honestly, I made this one too thick compared to the other ones. There you go. But yeah, silhouettes are very important because it can really help add clarity to your art. Because if we were to take like here, we can apply it to a character. I just thought of one that's like really simple to explain. Like for example, as simple of a design as it is, if I do this and then we cut out a mouth here, let me delete this. If you are ancient like me, you know that's Pac-Man. I don't even have to make it yellow. You just know that's Pac-Man. And that was the beauty of Pac-Man, is that his shape is very iconic now. When we see that, we think Pac-Man. Pac-Man has a very recognizable palette, or a silhouette. So that's how you can apply it to, like, character, and obviously, there are other examples. I mean, really, just, like, go look up some of your favorite characters, and you'll see that they have a clear palette. Like, if you were to just look at a palette of a character, you know, let's say Mario or Sonic, Ness from Earthbound, Kirby. If you just saw their their silhouette, you could easily tell who it is because it's just recognizable. And it's actually something I thought about for, you know, like myself, my model. Because one thing that I've noticed is that I feel Magnus is very... Like, I feel like people can easily tell that it's Magnus because of my hat. And my ears. I think that's definitely what helps. Like, I think the most iconic thing about Magnus's design is her hat. So I think when people see the white hat with the mouth and the yellow beady eyes and stuff like that, like, I think that's what helps people recognize Magnus. That is my signature element, so to say. Do the water. I think that's, yeah, that plays into it, yeah. Any questions? Anything we've done so far? Or anything that you all like to see drawn? Or like, hey, can you draw this? How does that work? Or anything like that. No? Okay, cool. Well, in that case, that's I know today was like kind of all I got for today. I know it's a short lesson, but once again, it's kind of like the basic fundamentals, essentially. It's basic fundamentals on it. So sorry, I know this might be a short. I know this might be short, but you know, that's kind of like the general flow of. I don't know. So you know, as a review, it's all about the fundamental shapes: circles, squares, triangles. You can skew them or adjust them to get additional shapes that you're trying to work with. You can put them together to get even more complex shapes and objects. Oh, you know what? Actually, one more thing I can do to show you just another example of that. I forgot, but a sword. which would be more complex. A sword would have like the base of a circle. The sword part would be like that. It would be a square or a rectangle. The hilt would be another rectangle. And also it could be a triangle. You know, the top part can have a triangle at the top of it. Make it look sharp. Pull this in a little bit. Two. Where's my example? Oh, there. Or my preview for y'all. But yeah, so once again, um, with the power of shading, I'll come back to that later. It'll be a good summit for the silhouettes. But with shading, you can really shading is how you give 2D objects depth. Once again, this applies to any drawing, but in pixel art especially, shading is how you help things have more form to them. Um, a coin is just cylinder, has a cylindrical shape to it, but with power shading and just adding some depth. And with the power shading, you can add some depth to the coin to make it come across as like, once again, having depth to it. Um, with the mushrooms, once again, you would do shading to help it give a little bit more flair to it, and even on the cake, the same thing. Have the lighter part on top, darker on the side. It's the same, and once again, it's the basic shape. The berries are just circles. The cake itself is just a triangle, a scaling triangle, one on top of each other. Pyramid, if you want to draw a pyramid, it's the same thing. It's simply just a you know isosceles triangle. It doesn't have to be isosceles; it's up to you. But same thing, just a isosceles triangle. You send that outward. Same thing. Lighter side, darker side on the part. Boom. You know, it's all once again just like review your basic shapes, both in the 2D and 3D plane. It helps immensely with drawing objects. Silhouettes are incredibly important in helping things be have clarity to them. And once again, um, or not once again, but the other reason why silhouettes are so important is because if we're drawing on a smaller canvas, because that's the challenging thing with pixel art, yeah, is that if you're drawing on a smaller canvas, every pixel counts. And so the clarity of certain things becomes more, it's harder to read it if you have less room to work with. So understanding those basic shapes and knowing how to easily translate them between sizes is very important. If you know how to draw it on a small canvas, then you'll be fine drawing it on a big canvas. It's the same general principle. You just have more room to work with it, so you can put more details into it, more clarity. Um, you can delete that. So yeah, so it's a stop sign, it's a balloon. You know the core elements that we know that like and once again with the balloon, I could have had it have a more egg shape to it. Like that one I did just a circle, but it could have had a more like ovalous egg shape to it. That's a horrible example, but whatever. You know what I'm getting at. It could have had like an egg shape to it, but you know that just because I gave it the general outline of circle with a couple of lines beneath it, you will immediately think, yeah, that's a balloon. I reasonably look at this and reasonably know that it's probably a balloon. I know this is a box of some kind. I know this is a sword because you can see the hilt, the handle, the sword, the blade part of it. You can easily tell that this is probably a sword. Um, about that clarity, because this is what I've learned with working in kind of like a final note. This is what I've learned about with working in the style that I do for Impart Dreams. And let me pull up real quick. Let me start the music. Let me pull it up real quick, an example of some work I've done for dreams. I'll show you what I mean. Because dreams works off of what you can call a 1-bit art style, at least for the enemies. Enemies work off of like a 1-bit in that they only get one color. Which, once again, some people might say that, oh, that's easy. No, it's not. And it's subjective, of course, but honestly, working with 1-bit is very difficult because it's a huge restraint. It's a huge restriction on what you can do, which is why clarity is that much more important. Because you don't have much you can work with. You don't have colors. You have to make sure that the shapes are there so that people can easily read what something is. And of course, they won't always be perfect. I know that some of the entities, some of the things I've drawn for dreams have been, people have been confused about them. Although part of that, I think it's just, it's hard to say. It's hard to say. But let me try and find a good example of like a nightmare I've drawn. Okay, so like, let's take the slime for example. Once again, you probably can't see that. I'll use this real quick. So, you know, her head is circular. Once again, to break things down, her head is a circle. Her chest are circles, but with a more ovalish egg shape to them, being like thinner at the top, heavier at the bottom. Her body here, once again, it's the same thing. You could either equate this to being a triangle that I fluffed out to make it have more of a mushroom shape to it, or a circle that is like squished a little bit. And once again, with the shading part, I have to make this part empty because once again, remember, this is on a background. It's on a black background. I only have one color here. I have to use the background to help give myself more depth to work with the object, right? So putting an empty spot here gives it depth, makes it look like it's, you know, it's like squished out at the bottom. You can kind of see through it. And even these little details here with like her arms, where you see this like little drip goop here. Once again, I don't have the colors to really show how slimy or goopy she is, so I have to do stuff like this, these tiny little details to help show that she is dripping. Once again, silhouette, right? Like if I the core of working with these enemies and these nightmares is basically just silhouette. Everything is a silhouette in its core. Which, once again, it's so important to make sure that when I'm drawing these nightmares, I have a good understanding of silhouettes. Because people need to be able to look at this. I mean, I don't know. I want to believe that, like, if someone sees, like, this, and they can reasonably tell that it looks like a bird, like, you can kind of see the wings and the feathers. You can see the talons down here. And then its head, once again, has a very owl-like head with the little beak there, little owl beak and eyes. So you can at least tell that this is somewhat some kind of a feathered creature. A bird of some kind, yeah? And something like this is even cooler, I think. Because, once again, I have to make this upper part here. It has a thicker line to it. It has a thicker part to its silhouette, while this one back here is more thin. This is to help give it more depth. Because when things are more in the background, when they're more behind, they're gonna be like thinner because they're like further away from you, so it's harder to, you know, it's not gonna be as clear. While up here it needs to be thicker to show that this is like more front presenting, it's more in your face. And by doing that together, by putting those two together, just those two, it gives the impression that this is like this nightmare's mouth or its skirt there is like lifted up toward you. And once again, it comes down to just having that solid silhouette that really helps you read what's going on. Um, and that's why I'm going back through a lot of the nightmares, even the ones that a lot of the nightmares that I had in the original build of dreams. I'm going back through them again because some of them I noticed don't have the best the best silhouettes, so they're kind of hard to read. So I've been going back through and just like readjusting them. Like the clam here, the clam looks significantly better than how she looked in the original game because the silhouette was just not that good. I think it was kind of hard to tell what it was. And I've had some interesting takes on this hornet, or wasp hornet, whatever. Apparently, remember they are different. Wasps and hornets are not the same thing, apparently. But once again, key elements here, key signature elements of like what can I do here to make people see this and think that it's a hornet, a bee, whatever. It's a flying insect with a stinger, yeah. And so obviously antenna, that is a core feature of a bug. I made its face here, which once again are circles, but I made the face here come across as like more circular, giving it that wasp-like face to it, essentially. I give it like little fluff here, and then of course the wings. And we all know that insect wings, especially that of a wasp or a bee, they have these little like, I don't want to call them veins. I know they're not veins. I don't quite know what the terminology is for them, but those little lines on their wings, they have this look. And per usual, references are important because when I draw most of these monster girls, this is a beautiful thing about monster girls, is that they tend to have animal qualities and traits to them. So if I want to make sure that the wings of this creature come off as like a wasp or a hornet, then I can just look up a reference of a wasp and see how its wings look to make it more clear. It has the humanoid parts to it, but the core bits are there. And once again, with the stinger, the stinger here has a thicker line to it because I'm trying to show that it's more front presenting, while its abdomen or thorax, I forgot my bug anatomy, but its butt here, the butt section of it, is thinner to imply that it's more behind. What's another example? The snail is another good example, I think if you draw, like, a shell is, once again, it's like a circle. It's a skewed circle. And then, of course, I put the swirl in here. That helps people read it and to tell that, like, oh, this is probably a shell. Because I think, I feel like in general, when people think of a shell, we imagine a shell that has a swirl to it. So, and this is this enemy is called a Jackie Frost. One aspect of the Jackie Frost that I really like, and what I generally do love doing with this kind of art style, once again playing with the silhouettes, but I love being able to put these like tiny little details in here, where it gives you like what I'm gonna call multiple faces, because obviously you will look here. You can tell this is her face, right? This is where her head would be. But you can also see a secondary face here. It's like incorporated into her cloak that she's wearing, but it looks like a secondary face. And I love doing that stuff with this style of art, just like hiding things that will make you feel like, is that a face? Is that a secondary face? Grab. Chest, which, as we stated before, just a rectangle. You just saw off the edges. You slim down the edges a little bit, and you get that rectangular shape with the slimmed edges, so you get the treasure chest. And I put lines on it, once again, just taking core signature elements that we know of these things to help it be more readable to people that look at it. So, putting a little circle here with a base at the bottom to imply that that's like a lock to the chest. And then, yeah, by just adjusting the top part here, we can give the illusion that it's been opened up. And honestly, one thing I could also do is I can even put like lines back here. I don't have to, but lines back there, I'm not going to. I like it without them, but you could if you wanted to. But yeah, to imply that it's been open. Trying to see any more examples. Oh, me here with the balloons again. Once again, heart. Eh, yeah, heart. Because you have to combine both what I was talking about, like with the other example here, with this balloon. You know, usually whenever people see a string like this hanging out the end of something, it's going to give the it's going to like click in your mind of, oh, it's probably a balloon, you know? So even though this isn't a circle, it's a heart shape. This is a heart shape. This is in the shape of like a shield. This is in the shape of a skull. Just by putting this little string down here, I think it helps give the illusion that like, oh, it's a skull balloon. It's like, this is still a balloon, but it just has a different shape to it. You know, it helps the player kind of better read what's going on. Oh, and you know, the mirror geist here, another good example. To give the illusion that she's like, it's a mirror, that's why I put these little lines here for. When you have an object, and I can show like a better example here. You know? I'm glad I was able to find something more to talk about. I felt bad. I was like, oh, I don't want to end the stream too soon. I feel like we haven't talked about much. So we'll just do it here. Get a circle. Okay, this is just for example purposes. Let me get thicker at the bottom, that's fine. So if you want to give the impression that something is a mirror, mirrors tend to have like a shimmer or a shine to it. So it's easily done just by adding horizontal lines like this. That simple, really. Make some longer, some shorter. Yeah, just doing that. You can give the impression that it's a mirror. It doesn't take much, but it's just getting those key, once again, those key signature elements in to better help that clarity. It doesn't take much, just that little bit of detail helps immensely. So that's why I have those things here. And when she breaks out of her mirror, like this, I replace those shimmers because the mirror is broken. So I replace them with these like cracks, which once again, cracks are really easy to draw. You simply just you start at a base, you start at a point, you go out, and you extend outward. Because a crack, when something's cracking, there's like a starting point, and it's like lightning. It extends outward, and it can sometimes branch off. So when you have a crack in something, just do that. Just do that general same rule. Sometimes it doesn't have to crack or branch off. Sometimes it just stays straight. But usually it'll have a branch or two, and if it's like really bad, it'll have like the worse the crack, the more it'll extend outward. Yeah. Like that. And then I can also add in to show kind of like if there's a hole. Make sure you keep it jagged, because probably not going to be perfect. Yeah, doing that. And so far as making it so that the part where it's like broken also has cracks to it, or the cracks can start there and extend outward. Helps immensely as well. Once again, no right or wrong, just like have a few. There you go. it gives the, and one, we can even go in here and make this more jaggy. Break it apart more. Make it have more sharp, jutting, uneven edges to it. But yeah, just doing that. Now get the feel that now it's broken. There's not much here. You can get the idea. That's what I did here. Also, of course, with their hands coming out and their chest is now spilling out of the crack. But yeah. If I say any other good examples, I think we're good. Yeah. Alright, so yeah, those are just more examples there. But yeah, once again, silhouettes are very important. When you're doing a more simplistic 1-bit, 2-bit, 3-bit style, however many bits, however many bits you're working with, it's always important to make sure that the core or the silhouette is there, and that keep in mind of like working with basic shapes. They help immensely with clarity and making so that when people look at your art, they can reasonably just tell what things are, or at least make a good logical guess as to what it might be. All right, so now that's pretty much all I got. If there are no questions, then I think we're gonna call it there. And once again, I'll make sure that I upload this to YouTube, this VOD to YouTube, so if anyone wants to rewatch it again or wasn't able to catch it, it'll be up over there. Okay. Alright, well, if there are no questions, then I'm gonna send y'all off on a raid. I hope I was able to help somebody today. I hope y'all learned something. Let me know if there's any concepts or things you're curious about or you want to know more about. I of course am coming with my own lessons, but if there's anything you particularly really want to learn more about, let me know. And let me know in the Discord server. Let me know in the comments. Make sure you like, comment. It's going on YouTube if I say that. Yeah, just let me know. I want to do this more. I'm not the, I just recently started doing these, so like I'm not the best at explaining at times, but hopefully I'm getting general ideas, concepts across, you know. Anyway, I'll see y'all next time. Is there anyone, does anyone have a raid suggestion? Yes or no? Nope. Okay. I will send y'all over to... Probably the... Oh, it sucks whenever there's like multiple people and like I want to raid. Like we can only do one. Ugh. Let's send y'all over to... Alright, Amy, miny mo. I'm so indecisive. I'm usually more decisive than this. Hey, senor Zuina. Yeah, senor Zuina. Alrighty. I hope I helped today. I really enjoyed doing this. I want to do more. I want to do at least like one per week. But thank y'all so much for hanging out. I'll do this again next time. We'll be back tomorrow. So y'all have a wonderful rest of your day. I'll see you when I see you. Bye.